Good early evening, everyone. We made it to the end of another week. Good for us. And we've got another end of the week injury report with the Seattle Seahawks. So we've got some stuff to go over and we've got some ramifications to discuss. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Starting with the Seahawks side of things, that's the more interesting side. The Texans, so many of those players are, they just feel kind of replaceable. Like if one guy goes out, another guy goes in, and there's not a big difference. Like I can't name most of that roster. I don't even know who their top skill players are. So the Texans injuries, they are what they are. But let's look at these Seahawks injuries. So we had four players not practice today, and they are the four players who will be out for this game. One of them is Jamal Adams, and we already knew he's out for the season. I don't know why he's not on IR yet, but he will be soon. But he's out, as expected. We've known that for a few days now. Kyle Fuller also out, which is a relief to me because I fully expect him to be out there if healthy. So Kyle Fuller being out means we don't have to worry about him taking the field. And in this case, Damian Lewis is going to be starting at guard. But if something were to happen to Lewis, at least we can know that Fuller's not going to go out there in his stead. Brandon Shell also out, which has significant ramifications and is probably the most interesting thing here. So, Brandon Shell's out. There's an opening at right tackle. Jay Curhan could play. Stone Forsythe could play. Carroll didn't really give anything away in his conference today when he was talking about who he was going to replace Shell with. He mentioned Curhan by name. I don't think he mentioned Forsythe by name, but this is an interesting decision. Forsythe is definitely the guy with more upside and more potential. To me, Forsythe is a guy who could be a future starter. Curhan, I don't see it. However, Curhan is a natural right tackle, if he's anything. Forsythe is a natural left tackle. So there's a little bit of a debate here, and I don't really know how I feel. Forsythe, I don't want to play him out of position, make him look worse than he is, and have him pick up any bad habits like we did with, say, maybe Ethan Posick. But he's the guy who I want to see out there more than Curhan, because Curhan, I think, has a lower ceiling. But that's going to be interesting to see who we end up playing. So that's the most interesting thing from this injury report for me. Are we going to see Curhan or Forsythe? Finally, we also had Travis Homer. He is out with a calf/hamstring. Don't know when it happened. Don't know what exactly happened, but he didn't practice very much this week. So we are down a Homer. And the only other player listed with a designation is Quandre Diggs, but Carroll insisted that Diggs will play. So doesn't seem like, it seems like a kind of, they were required to put him here for some reason, but there's no concern of him actually being missing this game. So Adrian Peterson is also out, but he's not on the active roster, so they don't even have to say that if they don't want to. So running back is Collins, Penny, Dallas, and maybe Josh Johnson. So either way, we're going to have a fleet of running backs ready to go. It's not a very good fleet, but it wouldn't be a good fleet anyway, even if we had Homer or Peterson. So what's the difference, right? But yeah, very interesting stuff is going to be happening on this offensive line. I'm again, no disrespect to Kyle Fuller, the human being, but I don't need to see him play anymore. I'm done with that dude. Give me something interesting to watch if he is going to be out. So, right tackle, I'm going to say it again. Curhan is a right tackle, if he's anything. That's his natural position. But Forsythe is the guy everyone wants to see right now. So, we'll see how the team ends up making that decision. And let's go over to the Texans injury report. So, they've got a lot of guys who missed some practice time this week, but in terms of actual injury designations, defensive back Terrence Brooks is out. Brevin Jordan, tight end, is questionable. A.J. Moore, defensive back, is questionable. Deshaun Watson, I think we all know what's going on here, but he is out with a. What would you say there? Out with a member? Out with a. I don't know. I don't know. This comedy bit's not going anywhere. Let's move on. Okay, Brandon Cooks, questionable after being limited in practice this week. Jonathan Greenard is questionable with a foot injury. Kevin Pierre-Louis, our old buddy, questionable. And Jimmy Morrissey, offensive lineman, is questionable. So the most interesting thing here would probably be Brandon Cooks. He is by far their best player on offense in terms of skill positions. And if he cannot play, then their already very bad offense gets even worse. So keep an eye on that. He's the main threat that you have to concern yourself with on the field. And I guess that's really about it in terms of injury designations for this game. Now, one interesting note is that Tyrod Taylor, who is supposed to be out for the season, is actually healthy, according to the practice report. He does not have an injury designation and played every snap in practice. So Davis Mills is supposedly starting, but we could see some Tyrod if Davis Mills either plays terrible or gets hurt. Not that that really matters that much, but of course you'd probably rather be playing a rookie like Davis Mills over a veteran who's pretty good at avoiding turnovers like Tyrod. And yeah, that's about it. Damian Lewis, according to Carroll, did not miss any practice this week and is good to go, which is, that's good. Granted, there are some things we're doing with Damian Lewis that I don't like, but I would certainly rather have him out there than a guy like a Kyle Fuller or, well, honestly, Jake Curhan, because Curhan shouldn't be playing guard. And yeah, again, this Texans injury report stuff is kind of dry because so many of these guys feel interchangeable. I can't tell one from the other. The main good news out of this week's injury report is how many guys are going to be a go. DK Metcalf missed a lot of practice this week, but he's good. Brian Monet's good. DJ Reed, good. Alex Collins finally off the injury report for the first time in a while. So positive developments there. I don't know if this team has really much of anything to play for. I know some of you guys are getting buzzed on the playoff talk a little bit. I'm not there yet. But I will say that I want them to win this game. I don't want the humiliation of losing to a Houston Texans team that is starting Davis Mills. I want nothing to do with that. So, pretty clean given where we started. If you take a look at the first 2 weeks of injury reports, it's ugly. Like, look at all these guys missing practice. It looked like it could be bad. And I wasn't that concerned that we were going to lose, but it was starting to get to a point where I was at least contemplating it. So, 4 guys out, 1 guy questionable, and the guy who is questionable is supposedly ready to go. So, that's it. I'll see you guys later on today. Go Hawks.